What makes us male or female? It's easy to have biology be culpable and truly narrow it down to what's in between your legs. But the reality is that gender is much more than that, and in reality it has nothing to do with your biology at all. I started this project in order to raise awareness for gender stereotypes in terms of societal standards. But the minute I did, I realized it was useless to do a topic I was not knowledgeable in. Therefore, I turned the tables and realized I should go deep inside gender and truly delve deep into the question of what makes a man and a female a female. I interviewed subjects, including myself, and asked them a few questions in regards to what gender they identify with, and questions that would have to do with their meanings of the words femininity and masculinity, along with tying it back to my original purpose, gender stereotypes. The reason of this video was to call attention to something that we think of as simple as breathing in air, gender. It wasn't until I saw myself having difficulties answering my own questions that I realized that the extent was much greater than what I thought. There are such things as gender dysphoria, which is a condition of someone's physiological and emotional identity to be one of the opposite gender, or gender fluidity, which means one's own gender expression constantly shifts from male to female, vice versa, or even both. Not only this, but why is society so keen to label individuals based on the way they portray themselves? Like I mentioned on my podcast, which there will be a link for in the description, does a female wearing a suit make them less a female, or a male wearing makeup or a dress make them less a male? The answer to this is simply no. What gender a person identifies as is truly up to them, and they're absolutely allowed to not have to prove it to anyone. This, along with my close friend Daniel, who recently conducted his own little experiment that explores the ability to explore things outside of your comfort zone and not be bound down to what society says you can or cannot do. This is where we're so easy to say that yes, people can do what they please, but the reality is that we live in a world where people are still condemned for pushing outside the lines and still trying to live their authentic self. Reading up on it, for example, LGBT rights are heavily suppressed in places like Dubai and Abu Dhabi. This is where change needs to happen. Because sure, here in the States it might be okay, but there's still places where people are not allowed to portray who they want to be, and not be able to finally live their authentic self. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce some of the interviews I shot throughout the last couple of weeks so you too can live and see through the eyes of other people what it's like to live and see gender in their shoes. Can you tell us your name?
Paulina Cruz.
Dan Vasquez.
Cass O'Neill.
Jose, for us.
Cindy.
Jorge Vasquez.
Mar Gonzalez.
What gender do you identify as?
I'm a female.
Male.
I am a girl.
I identify as a male.
I identify as a female.
I identify myself as a male.
Probably gender fluid.
When did you first find out, and how did you know?
I guess like I had a vagina.
I've never really had any doubts about my gender. I've always identified myself as male, so I guess you can say my whole life.
I found out, I guess like people have always just kind of told me that, so it just kind of like stuck a little bit.
Well, for the longest, my mother would always, do stuff a boy would do, give me stuff a boy would use, and not only did I have the anatomy of a boy, but I also looked like one, and ever since then, I've identified as such.
For as long as I can remember, I was always my brother's little sister.
In reality, it's all a process to find out your gender, because it all starts on your while you're growing, and the kind of thoughts that people are guiding you with. And I always remember my grandmother, which was the person who was always raising me, because my mother was working, of course, but she was always placing certain things on your mind that a boy, a growing boy like myself, boys had to be in certain areas, couldn't allow certain other boys to do certain things to you and things like that. So it all goes, and even as the the way you walk. You know, she would always go, that's not the way a boy should walk.
So like, growing up, I guess I always thought like I was a little different because like I would put on like my aunt's heels and I would like, I don't know, play with crayons a lot to the point where I would like kind of like draw them on my skin a little bit, and then sometimes I would like draw them on my face. And I used to like put on my like sister's shirts sometimes, like little things like that as a little kid. But then I also would like, I still like the idea of being a boy, but sometimes I just didn't feel like it.
What does femininity and masculinity mean to you?
With that question, actually, I've always been more on the masculine side. Like, well, I didn't play with Barbies. I played with cars. I grew up with brothers. I didn't grow up with girls.
Not really much. It's just more of terms, adjectives, I guess you could say, like in describing someone and their feminine characteristics or their masculine characteristics. It doesn't really say much about the person.
Femininity, like the first thing that comes to my mind is obviously like soft and like gentle, but also at the same time is strength in a way if I really thought about it. And traditionally I think that masculinity is first thing that comes to my mind is fragile. Sorry. And yeah.
When it comes to that specific thing, I mostly see myself as highly feminine when it comes to all of that, because I like taking care of myself. I like looking good. I like doing my hair. I like, you know.
Femininity is, it's a good question. Like, strong women values, and masculinity would be male values.
I guess like a cultural deal that where a boy is a boy, and then whoever is raising you is gonna place the amount of, I guess, of ideas to make sure you identify yourself when the time comes in.
So a lot of people can't tell the difference, or well they do, but it's like not like, femininity is the idea of feeling feminine. It doesn't necessarily mean like pink, roses, flowers. It doesn't necessarily mean like, it doesn't necessarily mean just like your typical girly stuff. Femininity is the idea of feeling feminine. Like, you could still be a female MMA fighter and be like, yeah, I'm feminine. Even with like muscles, with all like masculine like physical values, and still feel feminine, because like it's more of like an inner, I guess, ideal, because I like to feel feminine. I don't like the idea of feeling masculine. Even when I do identify as a boy some days, I'd rather, it's like it's just like more feeling, I guess.
What do gender stereotypes mean to you?
I think they're fucking stupid. Well, I mean, I feel like it confuses a lot of young kids. Cause like as a kid, I would get confused. Like I'd be like, I feel like a girl.
I think they're just labels, to be honest. It's something that people just slap on things just to say that, oh, this is something a male would do, this is something a female would do, things like that.
Gender stereotypes is frustrating because growing up as a girl, it's difficult to want to stray away from the stereotypes just because of how other people would view the people who stray away from it. Yeah, they're very frustrating.
Yeah, my family is literally the epitome of societal gender stereotypes and gender norms, which kind of sucks, because even though my mom is happy where she is and happy doing the things she is doing. You know, there's always that part of me that, you know, wanted the roles to be a little more spread out, if that makes sense, a little bit more equal. I liked my dad to be caring. I liked my mom to, just like my mom is, and that'd be nice.
Oh, what society believes, I think, is that women are more emotional, more family-oriented, more taking care of the family and the kids in the home, and male. Is that the next part of that question? Male gender types are the man is the one who goes to work, takes care of the family financially, and does the more physical labor around the house.
I come from a later generation from that. You know that you know, we have I guess either not evolved, but we have grown up to make sure that we all have a place in society. We all have a place at home. We all have to contribute with the raising a family. We all have to contribute with the society, either a male or female. It doesn't matter the gender, the kind of work you do, things like that. So, like I said, nowadays it's a little bit different, right? But the reality is that I really believe that we all have the same rights, the same opportunities, the same aspects in life to grow. And no matter your gender, you should be equal, or you should not be denied of all the opportunities that are out there for you to be better or to perform whatever you want to do.
It's kind of just like, so gender stereotypes are just your typical, oh, a boy's gonna be blue and then a girl's gonna be pink, girls wear dresses, boys wear pants, men rule the house, women clean the house. That's kind of what gender stereotypes means.
You consider yourself breaking or following these stereotypes?
When I was little, like, people would be like, oh, why are you dressed like a guy? And I was like, no, like, I'm dressed like a girl, it's just my style.
I think I follow them for the most part. I think I carry myself as male.
Definitely breaking. Yeah, I'm not a very feminine human being. I will occasionally if I'm feeling it, but like I don't feel the need to be feminine for anybody else. It's just kind of like an in the moment sort of thing where if I want to do it, I'll do it. I'm never really traditionally feminine. I like more masculine stuff.
Following gender stereotypes, I honestly can say that I break most of them. At least the one my mom sees as the real big gender stereotypes. I came home one day with my nails painted. My mom threw a fit. She was like, "Oh, is there something you want to say? What's going on with you?" She sat me down, had a talk. For a while, I couldn't. It couldn't just be me, and it couldn't just be. I couldn't just bring a single friend home that was a guy, because my mom would think that things were happening, which was kind of weird, because I had more girlfriends at the time, friends that are girls, and she wouldn't bat an eye, but I brought a guy home, we talked for a few, and she suspects things that she shouldn't, following them.
So I think I'm breaking them because I'm divorced. I have to do both the male and female norms, right? So I work outside the home, I take care of the house, I take care of my daughter, I cook, I clean. I usually have to hire somebody to do the more physical labor, but I'll do some.
No, let's say that I'm neutral, because I'm not either breaking or following, because if I don't follow, I will tend to say that I will have to do more in order to do that. More like being proactive on certain things, and looking to be educating myself in the proper manner and teaching people about those things, right? So that's why I'm saying that I'm neutral, because I don't do that. And also the same way when being the opposite, that instead of following I don't do that either.
Don't necessarily follow them. When I dress like a boy, I still do feminine things such as putting on makeup. Well, putting on makeup isn't necessarily feminine, but I feel more feminine with it. And then when I'm like doing, like, let's say drag, I can still feel pretty masculine if, like, per se, I don't know, play soccer. But that was just once, and that was a very bad idea.
Out of all the people I interviewed, only a few have actually experienced some type of judgment when it came to the way they portray themselves to other people.
So I cut my hair short, and the first thing, the first thing my dad did when I got home was look at me in the eyes and then kick me out because he was embarrassed. So that was like, I think that was one of the more defining moments of like public reactions to me straying away from that type of stuff. That seems to be a pretty consistent thing, especially now that since my hair is short, my long hair kind of was the defining factor for where someone would look at me and be like, ah, yes, girl. But now that I have short hair, everyone's like, boy? And I don't correct them anymore. I'm just kind of like, all right, like, you do you. If that's what you see, I'll take it. So it's kind of interesting to watch my parents or my friends be like, aren't you going to correct them? Like, I don't really have the need to. Yeah.
It's honestly just, hey, that kid's gay, or like, hey, that kid's closeted. And honestly, just because of the way I carry myself, it's kind of whack. The fact that people think that it actually cost a few guys to hit me up asking, for my number and shit like that, because people assumed, literally the whole school assumed, people I didn't even know from other schools assumed my sexuality because of the way I portray myself, because of the way I behave, because of the way I talk sometimes, and the fact that stuff like this happens, it's kind of whack, honestly.
Even like at like school or at work, you know, seeing like someone who looks like a guy be like hyper feminine wearing makeup, like it has its like bad sides. I get weird stares, you know. Sometimes people don't want to talk to me because it's kind of, I guess, off-putting to them because it's different.
I am happy to say that this project has not only evoked a breakthrough in knowledge for me, but by being able to explore the aspects of others, I don't only find myself learning more and more, but also being able to evoke awareness for a topic that is so easily overlooked. For this, I thank Under a Tree. Under a Tree is a non-for-profit organization that pushes for leadership and creating ethical citizens that tackle tough civic dilemmas and push for change in the community, along with encourage activism. And also, I'd like to thank Daniel Padron for being able to provide another supplementary source, learn more about what it is to step a little outside of your comfort zone. I'd also like to give a special thanks to everyone that volunteered to be interviewed for this project. Without you, people would not be able to see what it's like to see gender in your own specific lens.